Do I really need to show you anything more after that? Fine. Osombie. Osombie. What can I say about Osombie? Well, it's a zombie film. A zombie film featuring Osama fucking bin Laden. Yeah, bin Laden. You may have heard of him. You know, he's got a kind of a well-known past. You know, husband to 6 wives, father to an estimated 26 children, and yeah, he's kind of the instigator in the most devastating terrorist attack on the free world in the recent memory. Yeah, that bin Laden. Alright, evaded capture for years, was assassinated back in 2011, which, you know, obviously makes him the perfect antagonist for a zombie film. And it's boring. Yeah, and out of all the things I could say about this movie, the one thing I wouldn't have expected to hear myself say at the conclusion would be that it's boring. But it really is. I wasn't even aware that this film existed until a few weeks ago, where in work, the new release arrived and this little beauty was sitting atop of the pile. I didn't know of it, and I just felt this urge to purchase it and review it, so now thinking back, that just might have been gas. The things I do to meet a quota. Osombie is a film that just completely baffles me that it came out as the film it is. I mean, just look at the premise. Osama bin Laden comes back from the dead as a zombie, and a group of special NATO forces, along with a devoted sister who is looking for her crazy conspiracy theory-believing brother, end up in the middle of the Afghan desert, where they aim to first discover if he really is still alive, and then eliminate him for good if he is. With that kind of premise, you'd expect me to come back with any and all negative things to say about the film. That the acting is bad, the dialogue terrible, the performance is wooden, etc. But no, I honestly can't say that about this film. It's just so boring. And really, the blame falls squarely on the writer and the director for not treating the material with a little more tongue-in-cheek, because the cast do a great job with the material they're given, and it just feels so wasted, because the film could have gone with so many possible directions and scenarios, but instead stays on this fairly mundane path that just leaves it feeling bland and uninspired. And it's a shame, because if a film like Dead Snow showed us anything, it shows how you can do an over-the-top fun zombie film. I liked Dead Snow, by the way. This just falls way short, and despite the odd moment where it seems the film could go in this fun direction, it ultimately fails and limps to a very tame conclusion. Anyway, that's my basic surmise of the film out of the way, so you now have your get-out-of-jail-free card if you want to spare yourself actually seeing any more of it. If you don't, and you still want to watch it on, please be my guest. We open with the assassination of Osama bin Laden, complete with hit squad infiltrating his compound, blowing a door off its hinges, and then being attacked by a group of walking Afghan zombies. Headshot! Oh, a zombie film where the characters already know that shooting a zombie in the head is the way to go. That's actually quite refreshing. Initially, when I watched this sequence, I was getting the impression the angle the film was going for was to treat all the events like they're nothing out of the ordinary, and just have the cast playing it totally straight, while the film slowly gets more and more out of control and absurd. Sadly, they go the way of having the cast continue to play it straight, but then the film itself doesn't get any more absurd, so it kind of leaves everything in this weird sort of holding pattern. One of the troops is bitten, and after tracking bin Laden, they eliminate him, but not before bin Laden injects himself with something. Bagged and tagged, while being flown back to an American aircraft, the bitten soldier turns on his comrades just as bin Laden revives, and the helicopter crashes into the sea. Meanwhile, at a nearby beach, a very large and deserted beach, a young couple frolic in the sands before the female decides to go swimming. I won't lie, when I first watched this, I thought, and still kind of wish, the filmmakers should have gone all homage crazy and used his beard as a fin. I think it would have been awesome. Sadly, they don't, and she is, of course, attacked and dragged under the water, where her obviously concerned boyfriend rushes to save her. Kenna! Okay, correction. He stands on the shore and quietly calls out her name. From his vantage point, he sees a figure emerge from the depths of the ocean, and here he is, Osama bin Laden, returned from the dead, ready to cause chaos around the world once more. Yeah. You know, I think the Adipole from Doctor Who looked more threatening than that. And as a reminder, that is Osombie. Now, look at the DVD cover. This actually looks like him. This does not. Now, I'm not saying it would have made a better film if he looked more like this, but couldn't they at least have made the effort to make him more look a little like the Osama bin Laden on the DVD cover? With Osombie now on the loose, a group of Afghan terrorists who are hiding in a cave and videotaping their conversation, for some reason, hear of Bin Laden's resurrection and make vague threats about their enemies. And here's a tip, movie: if you're going to use subtitles, don't use a colour that makes it impossible to read them. Now, you would think the logical direction of the film now would be to follow the Osombie's trail of destruction while he generates a zombie army, while the military attempts to eliminate him once and for all. But no, that doesn't happen. In fact, for a film called Osombie, we now don't see Bin Laden until the end of the film. And even when he does show up, he's chained up. It's just got this feeling of, what's the point? Some undisclosed time later, in the desert, also located in Afghanistan, we meet our group of NATO Special Forces being led by their captain, who goes by the name Welshy, which is an awesome name, by the way, and a wonderful drink. And his squad members, Herc, Doc, Chapo, Chip, who seems to have a shirt fetish, DC, I hate you, Carol! Who seems to have woman issues, you just had to have the dog, didn't you? Joker,
why aren't there any Walmarts in Afghanistan? Because there's targets on every corner.
And Tomboy, and I'm sure that haircut is in regulation, where they come under attack from zombies! And following protocol to the letter, they first get permission to attack the horde of zombies, who are rapidly approaching.
Request authority to engage, over.
Okay, now what would they have done if they'd been denied permission to engage? Just sit there and get eaten? Run away in the blistering hot desert whose heat wouldn't affect the charging zombies? I guess Whiskey's just a stickler for protocol. Now, this is an area where I felt they could have gone in a different direction and played up the absurdity of fighting zombies in the desert, but instead they just play it like it's a normal attack, which initially can be quite funny, but eventually something has to happen. Maybe just a wink at the audience, otherwise it is just an army film with zombies. With permission granted and armed with some of the most powerful weaponry available at the moment, many of them equipped with scopes for sniping and pinpoint accuracy, our heroes do the smart thing and run at the zombies and shoot them. Now, from the off, I want to say that all the actors do a great job with the material they're given, and you really feel a sense of camaraderie between them, and this sequence is here to emphasise that, but also to show that the unit is aware that zombies exist, and that they can pretty much handle themselves in a fight. Star of the bunch has to be Tomboy, who, as well as being a crack sharpshooter, also comes equipped with a katana blade. But does she know how to use it? That is so hot. During the battle, the zombies claim their first victim, Captain Whiskey, and with him going, well, everywhere, so does the radio equipment. While mourning his loss, Herc also gets bitten, and after eliminating the threat, it's down to one of his comrades to pull the trigger, but none of them are willing to do it. And I can sort of understand. I mean, if a colleague or a friend of mine needed me to end it before they became a member of The Walking Dead, I'd have a hard time doing it too.
Welshy! Thank goodness you're here! I've been bitten by a zombie!
Oh, shit. Dude, no.
I can smell it, it's so bad! Just shoot me. Just shoot me.
Maddie, I can't do that. You're my friend. You're my brother. Maybe we can find a cure. Maybe if you just hold on, we can find a cure. Maybe if you hold on, think of something positive. Think of something you can hold on to that'll keep your humanity intact while we find a cure. Can you think of anything?
I may be able to hold on. Hey, maybe I could do this movie with you.
What?
My fans have requested me to do it, and what better way to go out than by reviewing it with my best friend.
Moving on.
I'm still okay! Ah! Is that a no then?
God damn it. I don't want your crappy crossover commercials in my video. God damn it, it's like I have no control over these things! With everyone thinking of an excuse to not put Herc out of his misery, Tomboy, pardon the pun, mans up and decides to do the honours.
Figured you'd do the same for me.
Now this is a moment where I have to credit the film in their handling of the Tomboy character. So often in movies when you have the woman who's the badass, they overemphasize it so much that it becomes annoying. For me, a good example of how not to do it would be how they handled Black Widow in Iron Man 2. In this film, she's a badass. But they really overemphasize this because she never smiles, she kicks people's asses, and she kind of acts like a robot. No, I don't like this, and I don't agree with that kind of handling. And one of the reasons I love Buffy so much is they were never afraid to show Buffy being human. Yeah, she could be a badass and kick your ass if she wanted to, but they were never afraid to show her being ditzy, clumsy, or selfish, and just being normal. Tomboy gets this kind of writing where we see her being a badass, but then we see her smile, we see her laugh, and she just comes across as a human being. She is probably the best character of the movie, which is more so because she gets the best moments in the film, but she's actually handled and treated with a lot of respect, which is really nice to see. Okay, segue over and back to the movie. Later in the night, we meet Dusty and her guide, Asif.
Asif.
Name corrections. Reminds me of my ex. As they're camping out in the middle of the desert, Dusty is searching for her brother, a conspiracy theorist called Derek, who's also a bit of a nutter. Now, how they've not encountered a single zombie in the whole time they've been out in the desert, when it seems like the dunes are literally crawling with them, escapes me. And even when one of the characters in the group address it, it still doesn't satisfy me.
How long you been out here?
A couple weeks, including the week it took to get here.
You never came across him till last night.
Yes, exactly. That's just a question. It's not an answer, and pointing it out just makes it an even bigger plot hole for me. Of course, if she had encountered them, she'd have been turned into a zombie, and I'd have been spared at least one annoying character in this film, but as it stands, Dusty is here with her guide looking for her brother.
Nothing to be afraid of?
Wait, what are these? Stealth zombies? Weeping angel zombies? Why is it they only ever make a noise when they're actually seen? Asif is killed and turns pretty quickly, but the troops arrive and clean up the area. Dusty explains her story, and having lost her guide, and having a small gun to her name, she's allowed to stay with them in the hopes of getting out of the desert alive. The next day, we meet the elusive Derek, as he very awkwardly pickpockets a zombie, and then kills it. And no one heard that? I mean, seriously, he wasn't exactly Solid Snake-like about it, and look, that zombie turns and sees him! Okay, 2 scenes previously we saw zombies charging across the desert, and now there's a group of them ambling around, and when they see another man, they don't give chase and follow him. What? Oh, they probably think he's annoying. And they'd be right. Moving back to the troops, Dusty, taking the position of the audience, asks the question how exactly zombies are walking around the desert. And we finally get our explanation.
Godsmack was a biological agent. In order to increase its resale value, someone was bulking the formula by adding other biological agents to make a sort of biochemical cocktail.
Now, personally, I'd have been happy with them just blaming it all on the Umbrella Corporation. And given how totally absurd this dialogue is, I credit the actor for delivering it with such a straight face, but I feel this is an area where the director really should have allowed a little camera winking to take place. And it was at this moment where I started to realise that the film wasn't going to have any fun with its premise, which is not a good sign when you're only 39 minutes in. Back with Derek, he meets the kid from Star Wars Episode 1, feeds him, and then sends him off to his family. Yeah, that's it. We never see him again. Well, I guess they included this to show that Derek's a nice guy. But no, I still think he's an idiot. Back with the troops, Chip and DC show their friendship by lightly sparring with each other. Doesn't seem like lightly sparring with each other. And following another zombie attack, Doc gets bitten, which pisses off Tomboy.
I was supposed to have your babies.
Yeah, but was he aware of this? I guess showing her spank his ass earlier in the film was supposed to tell us that they were in a relationship. Doc attempts to retrieve his gun, but gets ganged up on by the zombies and turns very, very quickly, while still holding his grenade. And for some reason, he begins running towards the troops while the rest of the zombies just walk. So far we've had running zombies, stealth zombies, walking stumbling zombies, and stupid zombies.
Consistency!
Managing to finally hit the grenade, Doc is put to rest, and with the rest of the zombies cleared, Tomboy mourns Doc's loss by swinging her sword around, while Joker himself seems to have picked up a mark of his own.
If you're worried about zombie offspring, don't be. You can still have my babies.
I like that. It's funny and pays off her line, which really came out of nowhere.
This is what you call friendly fire.
I guess it's true. Females must enjoy hitting their male friends. It does actually explain a lot about my friendships anyway. To create a better chance of slipping through the zombie fields undetected, the group decide to split up, with Chip, DC and Dusty going in one direction, Tomboy, Chapo and Joker going in the other. Back with Derek, he discovers a truck with an obvious zombie inside. So he smartly removed the zombie from the truck without shooting it. Smart guy. Nice. A tad overkill maybe, and an overuse of bullets, which just begs the question, how in the hell has Derek managed to survive this long? Following the group of Tomboy, Chapo and Joker, who I'll call Group 1 to make it easier, they chatter away and actually raise a good point about zombies in general.
So where's all the zombie crap?
That's true. Now think about this for a second. In every zombie apocalypse film we've ever seen, we see hundreds of thousands of the Walking Dead roaming the streets, and there's never a question about what happens to their shit. Is there a zombie janitor that goes around and cleans it all up? Do their internal organs still work? Are they able to fully digest their food? Please don't answer this question, it's going right up there next to what does meta mean.
Maybe they're bulimic.
While venturing through a cave, Tomboy, who is still grieving, kills a few zombies while Chapo and Joker talk about Chapo's sister's Beanie Baby obsession. This is another area of the film where I think they were trying to have this comedic moment by having Chapo and Joker talk about something so mundane and normal while Tomboy cuts up a group of zombies. But it just does not work, mainly because it's filmed so flatly, and there's no real energy or life to the conversation. If anything, Tomboy is, again, the best thing about the scene, but she's hardly shown. Okay, that was awesome. Back with Group 2, they walk into an ambush and DC gets caught with some shrapnel in his leg, and after Chip removes it, he cuts an artery and proceeds to bleed out all over the floor. But with zombies and insurgents attacking, they're forced to move out. Team 1, meanwhile, walks into a minefield and encounters a zombie attack of their own. All seems lost before Derek arrives and saves them. Yeah, I know the movie's trying to trick me into liking him, but I still don't like him. They ride, shoot zombies, the truck breaks down, and because he doesn't want to carry the big-ass gun that just saved all their lives, he leaves it in the truck. And that's just one of the reasons why I don't like him. Back with Group 2, DC is dying, and apparently the zombies are coming up fast.
Coming up fast!
So fast, in fact, that Chip and Dusty are able to enter a cave, fight a few zombies, run out of the cave, kill the zombies inside the cave, DC dies, and those zombies who are coming up fast are still coming up fast, I guess? Although we never see them again, so what happened to them? Yeah, this film isn't following that logic anymore. Dude, I've got something to tell you. Who are you? I'm you, from the future. Oh. Hi. So, what can I do for you? I've come back to warn you, and I know you've written it into the script because I did too, but you must not kill Film Brain. Something terrible will happen if you do. I kind of already did kill him. You did? Oh, crap. Well, that means you and everybody on the site is doomed. Just the site. Because if it is just the site, that's going to make a lot of people off YouTube and a lot of people who post on forums very, very happy. Yeah, true. But sadly it starts with the site, but then moves on to affect the whole world. Well, that sucks. Wait a minute. If you came back to warn me about this, then presumably a version of me came back to warn you when you were sitting here doing this review. That's right, he did. Only my future self arrived at the beginning of my review. Damn it, I knew I shouldn't have stopped off to buy this chili. Future chili. I have no idea why I just said that. Anyway, what does this mean for me? Well, it means, in short, that you pretty much changed your entire future. So, shouldn't you, I don't know, disappear or be erased or something? No, me being here changes nothing. My timeline is now an alternate timeline. Think of it like a second series of events, like the Star Trek remake. And in my dimension, I didn't kill Film Brain, the world didn't end, and I went on to marry Anne Hathaway. You're married to Anne Hathaway? Well, I'm also having an affair with Karen Gillan, and I'm the second most popular reviewer on the site, after the Blockbuster Buster. You're sleeping with Karen Gillan and you're successful. Anything else you want to rub in my face while you're here? Yeah, I'm also the WWE champion. Anyway, your timeline's fucked. You know, I really am an asshole. It's probably a good thing I don't do storylines, because if I did, that would really come back to bite me in the ass. Back to the film. After burying DC in a fairly emotional goodbye between the two of them, as the character relationship has been built up quite well between these two at this point, the groups reunite, with Dusty and Derek having their emotional reunion.
So stupid!
I knew it! Females hitting males does mean they care. Dusty and Derek are my only real problems with the film in terms of the characters and the casting. If it had just been about the troops and their battle to escape and or assassinate bin Laden, I'd have been fine with that, because the groups make for a fun unit, and the more time spent with them, the more I actually enjoy them. The problem I have with Derek is that he's an idiot with a death wish, and even though he tries to come across as this lovable guy, he ultimately ends up causing more problems than anything, and Eve Morrow, the woman playing Dusty, just seems to be on another planet with her performance. At some points in the film, it almost looks like she's trying not to laugh during the scene, which takes you out of the movie and completely goes against the serious, no-fooling performance the guys playing the troops are giving. And it just leads to a mishmash of styles and ultimately hurts the film. Its premise is one that shouldn't be taken seriously, yet the director and the writer want you to take it seriously, while I'm sitting here watching this film unable to take anything I'm seeing seriously because the premise is so absurd. Taking the time together to mourn the loss of DC, the units settle for the night, and Dusty tries to talk Derek out of his crusade to eliminate bin Laden.
If you care about me, will you come home?
Because I care about you. I can't.
Now, he says this here, but later he does this. Yes, I'm going to show you how much I care by endangering you and the entire unit by releasing a horde of undead zombies in your general location. You utter cock. Before this though, Derek has a dream in which he imagines Osama bin Laden attacking him and Dusty when they were children. I think there's a touch of symbolism in here somewhere. And upon awakening, ooh, bad acting there, buddy, he leaves the camp, and even though Joker watches him go, he doesn't follow, or even care. Which not only sums up my feelings towards Derek, but actually this whole film by this point.
Wish my brother wasn't so stubborn.
You're confusing stubborn with stupid.
Well, it's nice to see the movie agrees with me. Derek arrives at the camp where it's believed they're keeping Osama bin Laden. He releases the zombies to keep the insurgents busy, and then enters a cave, because we all know Osama bin Laden likes to live in caves. While outside, the troops bear down on the same camp, only now it's a camp completely overrun with zombies, and they're also attacked by further zombies. Yes, it's nice to see Derek looking out for his sister. And this is where I feel the film makes its biggest misstep. Look to a film like Dead Snow, where for its ending, it chose to go completely zombie crazy by having the entire hillside come alive with the undead. With Osombie, it feels like they were going for this sort of angle by having zombies all sit up and give chase, but then they almost completely forget about it and just have the American troops fighting Afghan troops, you know, not zombies, just other human beings. It just begs the question, what was the point of having the zombies in it? Chip and Dusty arrive at the same cave Derek entered earlier, and still believing that he's alive, they both enter, and quite quickly in fact reunite with him, and then they encounter the fearsome Osombie. Yeah, that's it. And after entering the cave, they do nothing, and the insurgents do nothing. So they turn to leave before the cave is overrun by zombies, and every one of the cave dwellers, bar the Americans of course, are turned into zombies too. The 3 Americans escape, but Derek, naturally, still has a death wish and goes right back. Shoots off 1,000,000 rounds that hit absolutely nothing until the zombies are basically in front of him, and manages to eliminate every single zombie until it just comes down to him and Osama. A fight to the death. Mano a mano, man to zombie. This is the epic confrontation the film has been building towards. This is the reason you bought this film. So Derek just blows him up with a bazooka. Yeah. There's your monster of the movie and your big climax. Back outside, the remaining NATO forces manage to call in an airstrike, but before we can get our happy ending, Joker gets hit and dies in Tombai's arms, a death that reduces her to tears. So the guy who's supposed to have her babies dies, and she swings her sword and she's over him, and the guy who tells jokes dies and she cries over his body? How does that work? And big happy ending, Derek lives, and I couldn't be more annoyed about that. And that, mercifully, is the end of Osombie. And if you thought it was boring to sit through this review, think yourselves fortunate you didn't have to watch it. It's a film of such missed opportunities. For the most part, the characters are fun. The staging, okay, it's not anything groundbreaking, but it's clear and you can tell what's going on. Nearly every character is given something fun and interesting to do, and yet it's not a bad film, which, believe me, shocks me to say. But it's just dull, and I can't understand how, with this kind of setup and with this kind of story, out of every possible scenario that this film could have presented, it doesn't play it for laughs. If it had gone the route of something like, say, Dead Snow, then this could have been a fun, over-the-top film, but it never does go over the top. The premise is insane, but instead of having fun with the insanity of the situations, the filmmakers play it straight and take no risks, and barring 2 of the cast members, I have no problems with the cast of this film. They do their jobs and do them really well, and you can't ask for any more than that. The fault here is simply with the direction and the writing, which is just so bland and so uninspiring. If the film wanted to be a political satire or a topical alternative to Osama bin Laden's death, then there are so many more ways it could have gone about doing this in a fun and entertaining way. But it just feels like they don't want to really offend people, and so they don't take any risks with it. Or you've got a film like Eye in Sky, which just prove how much fun you can have with this kind of premise if you're willing to take the risk. I fucking hate crossover commercials.
We're at an impasse here. Maybe we should compromise. Open up the doors. We'll all come inside and eat your brains.
Hey, Welshy, I'm cured.
Davy Jones!
Oh, Davy, you're so dreamy.